anonymous traders.
By 1997, propelled by the explosion in internet access, eBay's user base grew rapidly. Rosalinda Baldwin would later become an outspoken critic of the company. But in 1997, she and many others like her had discovered a new world.
It was wonderful. We had a community. We were building this trading site, this marketplace where individuals could trade across the world on an equal basis, where anybody could open up a business and buy and sell online.
eBay had quickly grown beyond Omidyar's ability to manage it. Enter Meg Whitman, a Harvard MBA who was running marketing for Hasbro's Mr. Potato Head and Playskool products. She had first declined to interview at a fledgling.com she'd never heard of. And even when she decided to visit eBay, Whitman didn't exactly have high expectations.
I was really happy to see a receptionist when I showed up.
We had just hired a receptionist because we thought it'd be a nice idea to have a receptionist when we had CEO candidates come in.
I wasn't sure what I was going to find. And in the course of that morning, learned a couple of things that I sort of went, ooh, it's interesting. One was that, it was already kind of a vibrant site. And so I saw some real potential.
You guys hit it off? Is that fair to say?
We absolutely did. Yeah.
Now, is it true that you looked at the balance sheet and said, whoa, nice gross margins, and you said, what's a gross margin?
That's pretty much, that's it. That's right. I remember you were in the office and you had said, I want to come, this was interesting, I want to come spend a day with your chief financial officer. I was thinking, why would anybody want to do that?
Well, I was already sold on the concept, but because I came from really the old economy, as it was termed at that time, I said, and exactly how are we making money in this business? And is there a business model here? So I said, I really want to spend, 3 or 4 hours with the chief financial officer who had just converted from part-time to full-time.
Right.
And after a couple of hours, I said, ooh, this is actually a great business model.
Yeah.
Next on The eBay Effect, fraud victims strike back.
He denied any knowledge of us. He said he'd never been on eBay or hadn't been on eBay in years and years. He had a gun on the table.
I would estimate that, and since I've been doing eBay the last 5 years or something, I've probably spent in the neighborhood of $5 million on collectibles.
Come on, Rodrigo!
10 years ago, I got to buy a part of my favorite baseball team, the Baltimore Orioles.
He's out, 2 outs, way to go, Matos!
I'm the chief executive officer and founder of Diamond Comic Distributors. We're the world's largest distributor of English language comics. When I was working for the post office, this was 1970, so I started asking people on my mail route if they had any old comics. But at the time, I was only doing this because I was a collector in my mind. I was going to get the things I had as a kid. I think it was about 5 years ago that I first discovered eBay and a love affair was born. I primarily buy high-grade comic books, but I also buy a variety, as you can see here, of other things. It's a Sleeping Beauty doll set with magic stay-on dresses. Here I got Tarzan swinging out into action here in 1935. That's pretty sophisticated stuff for 1935. 7-foot Superman. My bid, $2,931.52. 37 bidders went at it, and I won. I'm on there virtually every day. I'll be in the middle of a negotiation. I'm reading legal documents, and sometimes I need to do something to just kind of get my brain clear. So I'll jump right out of that instantly into eBay, and I'll work my magic on that for a bit, and then I come back to this, and I may even have a refreshed point of view because I was able to do that. So sounds crazy, but the mind works in funny ways, and it needs its exercise too. So it works for me.
Selling your home shouldn't be this hard. At RE/MAX, you'll find an experienced agent to take on the job and make your life a whole lot simpler.
Paper cut.
Yeah.
Let's stick with RE/MAX.
nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX.
It's not just another truck. It's the Honda Ridgeline. With four-wheel drive, a rugged, integrated closed-box frame, and a lockable in-bed trunk. Introducing the all-new Ridgeline. Above all, it's a Honda.
It's time people who get loans are treated fairly. That's why eLoan has no lender fees. Check out our current monthly refinancing options. Those are some of the revolutionary ways we're changing the lending industry. eLoan, radically simple.
Now, when you stay at Ramada, you'll earn points towards the things you really want with the largest hotel rewards program ever, Trip Rewards. It gives you more rewards more often for more fun. Ramada, sweet dreams.
When you hit the road, you expect your car to perform well. But if your engine isn't clean, it may not perform at its best. Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline can help. It actively cleans your engine for better performance. So, no matter where you're going, with Shell V-Power, you'll be able to enjoy the performance. Shell V-Power actively cleans for better performance.
Ron and Sona shows you the side of the G8 you won't see anywhere else. Live reports throughout the day from the G8 Summit in Scotland, beginning Wednesday on CNBC.
I used to think all Native American art was the same. Then I came to New Mexico and discovered 19 pueblos, each with a unique style. I used to think all...
For a vacation that will take you full circle, discover New Mexico.
Golf in New Mexico? Turns out there's everything from mountain to links courses. They don't just have golf, they have some of the most scenic and affordable golf in the country, which is amazing because...
For a vacation that will take you full circle, Golf New Mexico. I needed to relax, so I took a vacation to New Mexico. Ironically, I learned the best way to blow off steam is to be surrounded by hot air. And just a few days ago, I needed to...
For a vacation that will take you full circle, unwind in New Mexico.
Me? Dancing? No way. But then this flamenco dancer came over. Thankfully, she was the star of the show. Because me? Dancing?
For a vacation that will take you full circle, experience New Mexico.
The final preparations for a trip to a Las Vegas courtroom, where Scott Moser, Ed Ryan, and Fred Boehm hope to recover $1,500 they lost to a thief on eBay. Last December, the trio bought a camera for their fledgling production company.
Starting out as a small company, you know, $1,500 takes a long time to make.
All the money that we make, or most of the money that we make, goes back into the company.
Yeah, it's reinvested.
That was the little bit that was left over.
Yeah. We've been looking for about a month for a Canon XL1S, and finally found at a good price.
We checked out the seller. They had some sales in the past. All their feedback was positive. So we assumed that they were a trustworthy seller, and we felt confident making the bid.
So we won the bid and sent the money out. And next thing we know, there was no camera coming back towards us.
The group says they contacted the seller, David Harkai, who kept telling them the camera was on the way, until the check was cashed. After that, their emails went unanswered.
We had worked very hard for the previous year producing our first film for our company, and this was all the profits, basically. I think we were all pretty mad.
They contacted eBay.
The only thing, we got an automated response from them, basically saying that they'll look into it and then close down his account if they did find him guilty.
They eventually did, after weeks of all of the victims of this guy emailing them consistently. They finally shut down his account, but not before he had a couple more transactions go through.
But that didn't get them their $1,500 back.
The only way we could go after this is actually go after him ourselves.
They drove to Las Vegas and confronted Harkai at his apartment.
He denied any knowledge of us. He said he'd never been on eBay or hadn't been on eBay in years and years. He had a gun on the table.
It's been a few months, now we're heading to Las Vegas to go to court.
The vast majority of transactions on eBay don't end up with confrontations in court and firearms on a side table. eBay says fraud occurs in less than 1/100% of all its transactions. Others believe the company underreports the level of fraud.
The old-fashioned con game still is alive and well, now on the internet.
eBay. Today, questions raised about some of its users.
Laptop computers, digital cameras, plasma TVs, and more never delivered.
Mark Seiden advises companies on their internet security. In the brief time we were with him, he found numerous items that were highly suspicious.
Here's another one I found a few minutes ago. It's someone who was registered in Puerto Rico, but these goods are in Shreveport, Louisiana. It's a Canon camera, which you can buy it now for $3,000. Moreover, the listing is restricted to pre-approved bidders or buyers only, which means you have to email the seller to be on a pre-approved buyer list. This is a fraud alert.
Certainly no argument that you can make, you would think, that eBay wants there to be fraud on the site.
No, but they're certainly not taking enough effort to police it or to detect.
Why do you think that's the case?
I think it has to do with sales and revenue, and they're still fundamentally in denial. The marketing people think that the brand will be diluted if it's clear, if it's evident how much fraud there is, if they admit to it.
Some people say you underreport fraud. They say you don't make it as available on the site in terms of your education tools as you might, because you don't want people thinking that way.
Well, I suppose at the highest level that may be true. There's a balance there, David. I mean, I suppose on the one hand you don't want that to be sort of the marketing message of the company, but on the same time you actually want the bad guys and the community to know that we're watching, we're going to catch you, and we're going to put you in jail if we can find you and work with the police.
What's it out of? Shillbitty?
Yep.
Out of where?
Texas.
Rob Chestnut heads eBay's Trust and Safety Unit.
We've got over 1,000 employees around the world. It's their job to be watching the site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for suspicious activity.
What we hear from a lot of people, though, who have different but similar experiences, they don't really get much of a response. They get an automated response saying, you know, try and resolve your difference or whatever it is, and then they don't hear from eBay again.
Well, we do want to encourage people to work out their problems because, you know, most of the time when we get the first hint of a complaint, we get the parties together and they do work things out.
$1,500 Canon video camera. Buyer in Colorado, seller in Las Vegas, certified check sent to the seller. Ultimately, they never get the item. They take matters into their own hands because they say they really didn't get much help at all from eBay.
Yeah, actually in this case, eBay looked into the case after it was reported and was actually able to determine that this case was related to a couple of other fraud cases on eBay. eBay has even gone to law enforcement for this particular buyer and gotten the case accepted for investigation.
But there are people who look at that experience and say, ultimately, if you rely on eBay to really get anywhere for you in a decent amount of time, you're out of luck.
Most of the time, we're able to prevent a problem like this from occurring in the first place and get the listing off the site. So yeah, when I hear about a case like this, it's disappointing because we didn't do our job.
eBay has two major bases of operation for its trust and safety efforts, one in San Jose and another in Salt Lake City. Laura Haddock's job is to scour the site of potential fraud.
Here's one, for example, that I'm looking at that is a Picasso, and it's actually a reproduction Picasso. He's put reproduction in the item specifics, but he hasn't listed it according to eBay's policy, which says, you know, if you're going to list a reproduction of a famous artist, then you need to put repro or reproduction in the title. So I'll be removing this item from the site.
But despite these kind of efforts, Seiden says eBay could do a much better job patrolling its site.
I'd recommend a lot more automation in the fraud screening. Hire people who've done risk management for banks and credit card companies to build these systems, because the patterns, if I can discern the patterns, a well-constructed program can discern the patterns.
eBay has invested millions of dollars into that kind of a software. We have it. It's constantly being updated.
Do you just not have enough people watching so that stuff can get removed immediately that would hit an alarm button?
No, we actually have a large number of staff around the world. Part of the issue is that when you go to eBay and list an item, your item appears immediately on the website. So our security system may detect something the moment it's listed, and then later on in the day, the team will take a look at it, and if necessary, we pull it down.
eBay also urges buyers to use PayPal, its payment processing system that provides up to $1,000 of insurance. You must, though, have thought about the idea of, all right, we'll just insure everything. Yeah. It must have occurred to you, and you must have decided not to do it. Why?
They can have the law of unintended consequences, that if everything is insured, what does that say about what the bad guys can do? The bad guys could also be buyers and say, and actually be on both ends of the sides of that transaction. So there could actually be a situation where if you insure everything, actually you increase the total fraud on the site.
When the eBay effect continues, getting their day in court.
Do you swear testimony you're about to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do. Yes.
It's scary. It's very scary. You worry all the time. Your biggest fear is that knock on the door. My name is Robin Burns. I'm the wife of a soldier in Iraq.
Who is that? Who's that? Is that Daddy?
My husband is Sergeant Michael Burns. He joined the military because he felt like it was kind of his patriotic duty. He was a mortgage banker before he got into it, so we did take a substantial pay cut. And having 3 children, it's really hard to go out and get a job and pay for daycare. So I felt like it was something that I needed to do from home maybe, and that's when I got into eBay. I think I went through my daughter's closet and found something, and said, oh, I'll try to list this. So I listed it and, and went on eBay site, and I was surprised that it sold. And so I just started, finding little things around the house and, finding clothes that didn't fit the kids anymore and stuff like that. Mainly I sell gently used clothing. I love to shop, and this is an excuse for me to shop.
Come here, little man.
I've gotten a lot of wonderful feedback from a lot of people. We've gotten so many emails and prayers and, thank you for what your family does. And it's really neat to see how many people are there that support, our men and women out there.
Be powerful.
Be creative.
Be focused.
Be different.
Be daring.
Be shrewd.
Be fearless.
Be opportunistic. Be smart.
Be patient.
Be diligent.
Be independent.
Be sure.
Be committed.
In other words, be extraordinary. E-Trade Financial with low-cost stock trades, mutual funds, ETFs, and IRAs, plus ATM refunds nationwide at all banks. We keep challenging the ordinary to help investors be extraordinary.
Fully electronic stock exchange.
It was really dark. The road was icy.
It was really slippery.
We started swerving.
I thought we were going to roll over, but we didn't. It stopped us swerving and keep the car straight.
Who's going to help you stay in control?
When things are out of your control.
Someone should.
Have you seen my new pillow windows? They're stunning. But look at this. The shades are in the windows? Yeah, so they don't get dirty or damaged. And they work like regular shades? No, even better, they're cordless. Look at that. Oh, and it's so easy to change the shades, too. Oh my gosh, look at that. Do it again.
The new designer series, Windows and Doors. Only from Pella.
Want to see the other one?
Eventually, you'll look through them. The Pella Day sale is going on now. Call today for a free in-home consultation. Oh, you see the pool area?
Oh. Can I help you?
Yeah, we've seen 1,000 homes, and this is the one we want.
It's not for sale.
Kids, why don't you run upstairs and pick out your bedrooms?
Thanks for the house.
Okay, so what's the price?
There is no price. It's
sold. We'll take it.
But
hey, we should have them over for dinner. Do you like fish?
Century 21 agents won't leave you to fend for yourself to find a house. They're committed to finding the right home for you. To find out more, visit century21.com.
What would you rather have, a car or a cleaner environment?
I would love to have a clean environment, but that's like asking someone to give up chocolate, to give up their car. It's just not gonna happen. I love my car.
$1 billion. It inked the largest single corporate sponsorship in sports history. CNBC on assignment. NASCAR Gold. Monday, July 11th, 8 and 11 Eastern.
After several frustrating months, Scott Moser, Fred Boehm, and Ed Ryan finally get their day in court.
If I may, Your Honor, run through the sequence of events.
Seeking $1,500 from the man who sold them a camera on eBay, but never delivered it.
I'm looking at an eBay account. It has your name at 3108 Ivory Coast. Is that your address?
No, it's not.
What's 3108 Ivory Coast? Do you live there?
No, I don't.
You have that address on your driver's license.
Exactly, that's my mother's house, but I never lived there.
When I asked you about this address, you acted as if you had no knowledge of this address and it came as a complete surprise to you, when in fact it's your mother's address. So what I'm going to do, based on what I'm seeing today, I'm going to find for the plaintiff, I'm going to award the sum of $1,507.15. Obviously, utilizing something like eBay, you may be doing that at your peril.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're extremely happy.
Ear-to-ear smiles here.
We think this is the end for our future dealings with eBay.
And far from Las Vegas, in a sleepy Texas town, lives another disgruntled former member of the eBay community.
We got an RS pressure bowl, lock KK. RS pressure bowl. $5, 7.5, now 10, would you be 10?
Susan Lancaster used to sell the goods she won at local auctions through an online store on eBay. Now she sells on iOffer, a competing website.
22.5, number 3. 22.5, number 3.
Yes. I think I do feel some anger because we did start with them. We put a lot of money in their pocket.
Lancaster, who started selling on eBay in 1999, left the site after eBay hiked fees last February.
It's kind of a betrayal because it started as a small company and they always said, oh, we're going to be for the sellers. We want this to remain a community.
The $9.95 a month subscription rate for a store jumped to $15.95, and eBay increased its take on the first $25 of every store sale from $1.25 to $2. The 10-day listing fee for items at auction went from 20 to 40 cents.
The fee hikes just keep going on and they keep gouging you. And the small sellers get squeezed out. So many people were turning away from eBay because there's a lot of dissension.
An online petition to protest the fee increase drew more than 20,000 signatures. Rosalinda Baldwin, once an avid eBay user, now runs a website that monitors online auctions and helps people navigate buying and selling on eBay. Baldwin says she was barraged with emails deriding the latest increase in costs.
In the last 5 years in a row, there's been a price increase every year, despite the fact that eBay has record-breaking profits. So how can they say they're benefiting their community? We're doing the work, and we're building the site, and they're exploiting the community.
They call you fee-bay or greed-bay. They say they feel betrayed by eBay. There are a lot of people really, really ticked off at you who say, I'm done, I'm not coming back. What do you tell those people?
The price increase was very well thought out. We really think hard about what the right thing to do is for the greater good of this marketplace.
According to PowerSellersUnite.com, that's a site run by not happy former eBay sellers. You know, they say 7,000 eBay stores have shut down since the fee increase.
Well, we wanted to balance the marketplace. What you've seen is that the store inventory format has grown remarkably rapidly. But what happens when a format grows too fast is sometimes the conversion rate can fall.
That means fewer items for sale in the stores were selling. Bad for eBay's bottom line. So the company used fees to encourage sellers to move items from stores to the general listings format where things were selling.
Did you pull back and go, well, maybe we pushed it a little too hard this time?
Well, we sat and we said, have we done the right thing? You have to remember, we are pioneering a new market. So we made a couple of quick changes. The first thing we did is we lowered the final value fee for stores when a store owner brings their own traffic to that store.
Retracting fee increases can quell some discontent, but frustration with eBay is not limited to dollars and cents.
If you call them up, half the time they have no idea what you're talking about on live help, or they put you on hold. It's worse than the IRS.
Well, I think we have a tremendously dedicated group of customer support reps around the world. That said, I hear the same things you do. I think we have more to do there. I think our customer support can be more effective and we can become more accessible than we have been.
Wendy Jones is the Vice President of Customer Support, North America.
We average about 100,000 contacts a day. Our responses often comes across, because we are handling so many, as less personalized and less friendly as we would like. So there's a big initiative underway to address that a little bit more.
Pause, give a deep breath, don't take it personally, and don't be defensive, right?
Part of that initiative, classes for reps to handle calls more effectively.
So if their account's been taken over, what's a question that we can restate?
I'm sorry to hear that happened to you.
I'm sorry to hear that happened to you.
Let's see what we can do to get you set back up.
Excellent.
eBay is unique among major corporations in that it must act as a referee with its own customers, running the risk of alienating the source of its revenue.
I get these emails all the time from sellers. eBay shut me down. I am now out of business.
People feel they've been suspended who did nothing wrong.
It's a very delicate balance. And we have a philosophy at eBay that we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Now, you have to be careful, because if you've got a really bad guy and you give them the benefit of the doubt, they can do a lot of damage on the site. So it is an art, not a science, and sometimes we get it wrong. We have to get better at it. Again, I think we get it right most of the time.
But trying to get it right often puts eBay in the Solomonic position of deciding which customers to believe. Dave Martin bought a $40 necklace on eBay for his wife last December, which he says arrived broken.
I said, well, no problem. Here's our refund policy, send it back within 3 days. So I did all that, no reply, no confirmation.
Martin did some digging and discovered he was not alone.
Over the past 30 days, there was something like 30 people that were unhappy. And over the year, almost 200 people.
On the one hand, you have a seller who's been with the site for 5 years and has over 10,000 satisfied customers. On the other hand, you've got a buyer who's been a good buyer but also has had a couple of problems. As there have been complaints against the seller, they've each got a different version. It's very difficult for eBay to act as a court and try to figure out who's right and who's wrong.
How far is going too far in cyberspace?
How about the woman who auctioned off the space on her belly?
I came up with the idea from the man who sold his forehead for $37,000.
There are many gray areas eBay has to deal with, including what can be sold on its site.
And one I wanted to touch base on was the family for rent.
Members of the Rules, Trust, and Safety team meet to decide what items on eBay should be removed.
I'm kind of uncomfortable with the notion of people renting out their kids through eBay.
This was an 18-year-old kid saying, I'll go be your prom date. So the tough thing that we have to deal with is, how do we distinguish between those and other types of date arrangements with, let's say, celebrities or something?
We definitely draw the line where we don't allow any sort of sexual personal services.
Recently, a lot of coverage in the idea of breast milk for sale.
Is this a bodily fluid issue that we deal under, or is it a transportation of food, consumable good in interstate commerce?
The breast milk isn't packaged in a way that we require food to be packaged.
Anybody want to stand up for breast milk on eBay? Because I think this one is one we don't want. All right, no breast milk.
But even saying no to breast milk or Nazi paraphernalia or guns can cause controversy within the community.
We decided in early 1999 there were just some categories that we were not going to allow for sale. And interestingly enough, David, the community was up in arms. Not because they thought that handguns should be sold on eBay, but they were concerned, okay, so if eBay's making a judgment call about handguns, are they going to make a judgment call about a category that I care a lot about? And in the end, we said, you know what, it could be a slippery slope, but we're just going to make some judgment calls about some of these categories.
The judgment of eBay's management will continue to be tested as it tries to do what's right for the company without alienating the community that it relies on.
Coming up on the eBay Effect, the quest for worldwide domination.
If we were a nation, we would be the 9th most populous nation in the world.
We live in
rural Iowa, Denison, Iowa, which is the hometown of Donna Reed, which we're proud of.
I teach in the school district, and we have a high percentage of our students on free and reduced lunches. A lot of families would be classified as living in poverty. There's a lot of people in our community who are starting to make a business selling on eBay.
We have been operating Movie Magic USA on eBay since September 1st, 2002. For the year 2004, we brought in $865,238.28. It's really exciting to get up in the morning and know that while you were sleeping you sold 60 movies. Movies have always been my hobby.
I went to a one-day workshop that eBay offers. It explains how you can buy and sell. We spent a lot of time researching on the internet, found a distributor finally, and then the stress of having a limited amount of money and trying to figure out what we're going to carry. Because you don't want to have a lot of credit card debt. I think we were both looking at each other thinking we did the stupidest thing ever in our lives.
There's $2,000 worth of movies, as I recall it, and I'm like, what are we going to do? $2,000? The next thing we know, we just began to sell and began to sell. The more we put on, the more we sold. It was incredible how quickly it happened, and something we, of course, didn't expect. Only 2 months after we had started, I left my full-time job and went full-time with Movie Magic USA, which was scary at first. And then after only 9 months, we had to build a building out behind our house to house the business because we didn't have any place for it anymore. And it's just continued to grow like that since. Without eBay, I would still be a supervisor at a home warranty company. Obviously, just to put it bluntly, I make a lot more money than I've ever made in my life. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
It's a great way for people to stay in rural America and have some financial freedom and security.
This CNBC program is presented by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
They're right behind me.
I see him.
Go south.
Head for the roof.
I sent the package overnight.
Should be there by 8:30.
Should be there? Trust me, he'll be there.
The most trusted color on earth. UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Hey, Steve, what's this?
It's my toilet brush.
Oh.
Easy, Cupcake. That's a fresh brush. A flushable brush from scrubbing bubbles.
Keep talking.
It's the only flushable brush because it breaks up like toilet paper.
Leaving your bowl sparkling clean?
Yeah. You can't flush those Clorox toilet wand heads, so you can get stuck with over 75 million bacteria.
75 million?
They should be paying rent.
Scrubbing Bubbles Fresh Brush. Flush the germy mess away. SC Johnson & Family Company.
When you hit the road, you expect your car to perform well. But if your engine isn't clean, it may not perform at its best. Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline can help. It actively cleans your engine for better performance. So, no matter where you're going, with Shell V-Power, you'll be able to enjoy the performance. Shell V-Power actively cleans for better performance.
It's not just another truck. It's the Honda Ridgeline. With four-wheel drive, a rugged, integrated closed-box frame, and a lockable in-bed trunk. Introducing the all-new Ridgeline. Above all, it's a Honda.
My job is to predict the future. Every year, over 500,000 construction workers are injured in the U.S. So at Liberty Mutual, we're using 90 years of research and experience to help customers predict hazards and correct them, so accidents never happen in the first place. Some people say I'm psychic.
Liberty Mutual. It's more than insurance. It's insurance in action.
I say, hey, that's my job.
When something really fits, you can feel it. Like the fit you get with C-Bond denture adhesive. It's the only wafer that has a gasket effect that locks dentures in place, gives you all-over coverage, all-over hold. No mess, no ooze.
When your dentures really fit, you can feel it.
The denture adhesive with the gasket fit. C-Bond. and give toothpaste and tablets the brush off. New C-Bond Brightening Gel Cleanser does the job of both.
You're watching the world leader in business news, CNBC.
Twice a year, I try to get to Europe and touch as many people as I can and get as much data as I can. It is these kinds of trips where it is, 4 or 5 cities in 4 or 5 days.
Aboard a plane bound for Berlin, eBay CEO Meg Whitman prepares to address 200 of her company's European managers.
And Matt and I have laid out who's doing what. You have an urge to do it now?
Do I have the urge to do it right now?
Although Whitman rarely passes up an opportunity for a laugh, there will be serious business on this trip. On Sunday and Monday, it's European business updates in London.
Top sellers growing 19%. This is a very healthy tribute, I think, to the category management team's work.
Tuesday brings a meeting with European-based analysts.
Registered users ended the year at 135 million. If we were a nation, we would be the 9th most populous nation in the world.
And if it's Berlin, it must be Wednesday. That address to 200 of eBay's top European managers, and later meeting and greeting employees at eBay's German headquarters. On Thursday, Whitman calls on EU officials in Brussels.
About 37% of our volume on eBay comes out of Europe today.
eBay hit the international scene 6 years ago. It now operates in 33 countries. And this year, roughly half of its revenues will come from outside the U.S. eBay employs about 1,800 people in Europe alone, where it currently has 34 million users. 10 million of them are in the United Kingdom.
This is an original head from the mummy. Should go for around $300.
In the bucolic town of Birkham, England, lives a couple who make their living selling movie props on eBay.
There's an original Bond gun. This is from iRobot. This is one of the special effects pieces. Sitting on a suit of armour which is from Lord of the Rings. And this piece is from probably the worst film ever made, but that makes it famous in its own right. Gigli with Jennifer Lopez. Went for nearly $400.
The Harrisons spend some of the estimated $12,000 a month they make from selling on eBay buying on it. Most of their kitchen, from granite countertops to the stove, was an eBay purchase.
The last thing that I got was the fridge, which I wanted an American fridge. I mean, over in the UK, it's like the latest and greatest thing to have.
Last summer was very funny when Cherie Blair, the Prime Minister's wife, went bargain hunting on eBay, and she bought an alarm clock for 99 pence. And then a lot of people said, if Cherie Blair is doing this, I can do it, and I can go to eBay.
Doug McCallum is CEO of eBay UK.
We've just finished our 17th straight quarter of triple-digit growth, so growth over 100%. It very much appeals to the British sense of bargain hunting and of competition.
And just as in the States, people go to eBay to buy those hard-to-find items. Subway parts, anyone?
There are some trains that are no longer made in Britain that the only place you can buy parts reliably is on eBay.
Germany is eBay's largest market outside the U.S. It didn't take us long to find out why. Even our driver was an eBay user.
Every 2 months I buy something, and perhaps 2 or 3 times in the year I sell something.
Oh, you sell too?
Okay, yeah, I sell music instruments. All my friends in school or university are using it, and it was very easy to use it.
Easier than going to the store?
For me, I'm very lazy.
In Germany, eBay found a perfect recipe for success. Avid consumers with broad-based internet access, excellent shipping and payment infrastructure, and a retail industry with restrictive hours. Even with all that, there are concerns that growth in the country is slowing down. Is Germany starting to top out?
So we're actually very optimistic about our German market. We have a tremendous brand equity in Germany, which is evidenced by things like we're the leading e-commerce player, but also of all the e-commerce sites, we're the site that half of the internet users visit every month.
Lutz Dietz owns a store outside Berlin that sells all manner of tools. He's also been selling on eBay for the last 4 years.
So you sell more on eBay than you do from the store to people who come in?
Yes. We sell everywhere in Germany, everywhere in the European Union. We have customers in Spain, Austria, France, United Kingdom, Ireland, or Sweden.
Buyers and sellers here in Europe account for over a third of all the merchandise traded on eBay, some $12.5 billion worth in 2004. For eBay, it's just the beginning. It wants to create a colossal marketplace that lets individuals from anywhere in the world trade virtually anything with each other. eBay entered Asia 4 years ago. While its largest market is South Korea, it is China that holds the promise of enormous growth.
I make 2 trips to China every year, sometimes 3. And what I do when I come is work with our teams, understand the status of the business, what they're doing, and try to, help strategically. And then also do some government meetings as well as some corporate communications, public relations, things like that.
eBay added more users in China in 2004 than it did in the UK or Germany. More than 11 million Chinese have been eBay customers, and its user base grows by 20,000 people every day.
Our view is that one of the defining characteristics of winning e-commerce companies globally over the next 5 to 10 years will be how successful they are in China. So this is a market that we want to make sure we have a terrific position in.
People in China are looking for much the same thing as eBay users everywhere. Shuer Jia Yia has been selling cosmetics on eBay for 3 years.
If I did not open a shop on eBay, I would have some company life, not as free as now. As I am a sole eBay seller, I can get time and get some money.
In early 2005, eBay announced it would invest an additional $100 million to develop its business in China, where it faces significant competitive challenges from other auction-based websites. The goal is to prevent what happened in another major Asian market.
We were 6 to 8 months behind the lead competitor in Japan, which is Yahoo Auctions, and as a result, we don't have a position in. But that was certainly something I wish was different.
With or without Japan, some see eBay's international growth as a boost to the world's economy. Roger McNamee is a prominent Silicon Valley venture capital investor.
There are many parts of the world where the retail economy doesn't work very well. They will develop big parts of their retail economy around either eBay or something that looks like eBay.
In the very earliest days, no one could have imagined, and I certainly didn't imagine how eBay has been so broadly adopted globally. I came to learn, though, that trade is a fundamental piece of human nature. People all over the world want to do business with one another.
But as it grows around the world, a key challenge for eBay will be encouraging trade between countries. Right now, 15% of all trades cross borders, a percentage that needs to increase if Omidyar's dream of a global village is to be truly realized.
Next on the eBay Effect, eBay Mania, going way beyond internet trading.
My number one passion are Jaguar automobiles. I drive my cars on a daily basis. I don't own a new car. They range from my 1939 Jaguar SS 2.5-liter saloon up to my 1994 XJS convertible. Many of the parts and accessories on the cars I've purchased on eBay. This is a 1966 XKE that I've had for almost 30 years, and I was missing the wings and the sun visors, which are not original equipment on the car, and I was able to find these on eBay. This is a 73 XKE. The hardtop was bought off eBay. This car was purchased as a gift for the Queen Mother in 1939. Most of the badges on the front, one of the headlights came off of eBay. I'm a financial advisor with a major brokerage firm. I work with 250 families with an average account size of $1 to $10 million. Friends of mine here at work and myself, we would check on eBay, and all of a sudden one day, we can't access it. It says that you've been blocked, and I can only imagine that it's because my employer probably did some sort of study and found that an awful lot of time was spent on the eBay site at work. When I moved to our house in the city, I found papers up in the attic that told me that the house was built upon the 1904 World's Fair. So that really got my interest going. There's World's Fair items every day, and on any given day there's probably 500 or 600 items. I usually go on twice a day. One of the biggest souvenirs at the fair were the ruby glass. So everybody would go to the fair and they'd get this pressed glass. I bought this on eBay, 2 of the corsets that won the highest award at the World's Fair. All these stereo views are from the fair, and you would put these in, and people would spend literally hours in the parlor viewing in 3D things from all over the world. eBay is a way for me to just acquire more knowledge in other areas. I mean, there are other things that may show up on eBay that might be able to fuel more fires for me.
If you decide to quit smoking, you're not alone. Quitting is hard, but millions of people have succeeded. To help you find your own way, get a free copy of the Quit Assist Resource Guide. It points the way to expert quitting information, websites, guides, quit lines, what has worked for others, and more. It could help you find your own path to success. Quit Assist, a free resource from Philip Morris USA. Call or log on.
Hey, Steve, what's this?
It's my toilet brush.
Oh.
Easy, Cupcake. That's a fresh brush. A flushable brush from scrubbing bubbles.
Keep talking.
It's the only flushable brush because it breaks up like toilet paper.
Leaving your bowl sparkling clean?
Yeah. You can't flush those Clorox toilet wand heads, so you can get stuck with over 75 million bacteria.
75 million?
They should be paying rent.
Scrubbing Bubbles Fresh Brush. Flush the germy mess away. SC Johnson, a family company.
There are sports drinks that help you to fly, to soar, to defy gravity. But who's there to help when you hit the ground? To promote healthy knees and joints, one company wanted to make a drinkable dietary supplement. They turned to Cargill, where scientists created a good-tasting liquid form of key ingredients, resulting in a solution for healthy joints that's easy to swallow. This is how Cargill works with customers.
It's time for the lending industry to change. That's why eLoan has consultants who don't make money based on the rate of the loan and has no lender fees. Those are some of the revolutionary ways we're changing the lending industry. eLoan. Radically simple.
Ron and Sona shows you the side of the G8 you won't see anywhere else. Live reports throughout the day from the G8 Summit in Scotland, beginning Wednesday on CNBC.
Do you have trouble reading labels, cash register receipts, menus, and more because of small print, low light, or both? Then you need the amazing Owl Optical Wallet Light, the world's first high-tech magnifying light that's so small it fits in your wallet's credit card holder, so it's always with you when you need it. No more clumsy reading glasses. Use the Owl's powerful magnifying light to read menus, meal checks, credit card slips, product labels, cash register receipts, plus roadmaps, phone books, and more.
I was always forgetting my reading glasses. Now the Owl is in my wallet all the time.
I always use the Owl in a restaurant. It's so convenient.
The best thing about the Owl is no more embarrassing jokes about not being able to see.
Use the Owl anytime, anywhere you need instant lighter magnification. Great for finding keyholes in the dark. And the Owl is not sold in stores.
Order now for $10 and get a second Owl free with separate shipping. Call 1-800-923-7930. Not available in stores, so have your credit card ready and call 1-800-923-7930. Call now.
eBay's effect extends far beyond trades on an auction website.
You'll find it all.
It spawned an online society.
When you do it eBay.
Each year, the world gets a snapshot of that society when more than 10,000 eBayers gather for eBay Live. It's a chance for buyers and sellers to meet in the offline world.
we would never, ever miss an eBay Live. Doesn't matter where it is, we will be there.
Last year, a couple who met on eBay even got married there. And as in most societies, there are the elites. In this case, they're called power sellers, top sellers who average $1,000 in sales per month for 3 consecutive months.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to Atlanta.
They even have their own group, the Professional eBay Sellers Alliance, or PISA, with their own annual meeting.
People email me all the time. I want to sell on eBay, what should I do? You're getting confirmed.
Can I have the next person in line?
Every year, tens of thousands of people spend $59 apiece to attend eBay University, seminars sponsored by the company to teach people the ins and outs of eBay.
They didn't crop the picture, they didn't edit it, and that's an important step.
eBay doesn't directly profit from the one-day seminars, but it certainly benefits from the newly educated users. And even if eBay isn't making money from the effects of its website, plenty of people are.
You are the CEO of your own company.
eBay classes like this one, run by the local school district in Tavares, Florida, are held across the country.
I had myself been purchasing things on eBay, and I thought it was a great course to try to get some enrollment in. We started with 3 classes, and we're adding classes right now. We're up to 10 classes altogether. It's just phenomenal.
I'm trying to sell a bed. 4 pieces. I mean, do I crate it up?
Students include Florida real estate developer Paul Buchanan, who lives on this 41-acre spread. Buchanan, who had never used eBay, wanted to learn how to sell household items he no longer wanted, like this bed and lamp. After taking the class, he got some other ideas.
As we're going through eBay for the first time last night looking, I saw real estate on there. Of course, that's what we do. So we're going to try and put a couple of those lakefront lots on eBay and see what happens.
Want to learn without attending a class? A search for books about eBay on Amazon yields about 130 separate titles. Educators and authors are not the only ones cashing in. An entire universe of businesses exist only to sell things that help people trade on eBay.
We are the premier purveyor of popular pump pink packing peanuts on the planet.
There's the thriving business of packaging materials, as well as software designed to cut down fees for sellers and help buyers win the most auctions at the lowest prices. eBay's effect also extends to the world of brick and mortar. Over the last year, there has been an explosion of stores that allow people to drop off goods to be sold on eBay. These middlemen handle the whole process, from listing through shipping, and take as much as 35% of the item's sale price as their fee. Chicago air conditioner repairman Paul Cippello spent $75,000 on his new store.
I think that as it grows, it'll be like a little bit better than just working for somebody else.
Jason Spencer, a Bloomington, Indiana stockbroker, worked his way through college by selling electronics and clothing on eBay. Now he's opening a drop-off store.
I don't want to brag, but we are extremely good at getting great prices on eBay. If we can do okay, within 6 months there'll be 2 or 3 more of these open under my name. I'm already looking right now for another franchise.
But the rush to open stores doesn't mean they'll be profitable or even stay in business. That's not stopping people like Michael Sheldon, who is trying to carve an upscale niche in drop-off selling.
We realize that luxury sellers really have a difficult time selling online. And in many cases, they don't even know what the value of their item is.
So Portero, which receives between 15 and 20% of the final sale price, makes house calls.
Do you want to take a look at them?
Sure.
On this day, a rep visits the loft of a New York City surgeon who wants to sell a television, stereo equipment, and a Rolex watch.
I think it's about 7 or 8 years old.
Okay, great. Let's take a look. This is definitely something that will do well.
I interviewed dozens of people who were becoming entrepreneurs for the first time. And the astonishing thing was that the common thread was eBay. It was all manner of businesses, and many that I'd never thought of before. The creativity that eBay has unleashed is incredibly powerful, and that's why there's a community there.
Coming up on the conclusion of the eBay effect. What happens when eBay grows up? And are those Mark McGuire tickets a hit or miss?
Come on, baby. Come on.
I had an accident back in 1989 that left me in this wheelchair, and I had to find a way to make a living, and I chose to do that on eBay. At the time of my accident, I had 2 kids. They were 8 and 13. I was, enjoying life. Life was great. I was at the pinnacle of my career, and in the blink of an eye, my life changed. Prior to my accident, I was an assistant comptroller at a large hospital here in Beaufort. I was pulling a cart with medical equipment on it. I ripped everything in my shoulder. They took me in for surgery. There was an interruption to my central nervous system, and I lost most of the use of my right arm and my right leg. I kept watching people getting rich on eBay, and I wanted to be one of those people. So I taught myself how to use eBay. When I was a teenager in Virginia, my aunt used to carry Anier products. So I contacted the company, they gave me the dealership, and I've been selling Anier as my primary product line ever since. It's not unreasonable for us to be doing $50,000 a year in eBay sales. We can take vacations. My husband was unemployed for a little while. My eBay income covered that. When I first started doing eBay, I didn't let people know I was disabled. Good morning. I'm here to register Margie Smith.
That's right.
Yes. It was probably 4 years after I started eBay that I decided to kind of come out of the closet about that. I had customers writing to me saying, I'm disabled, I'm post-polio, or I'm epileptic, or I'm diabetic, and I would like to do what you do because I can't work a real job. So I found myself helping these people to develop their own eBay businesses, and from that, DOUA just grew. And we've got 500 students in our program right now. One of our members is a quadriplegic on a ventilator. Quincy, I love you. Bye. eBay has given me power. The freedom to make choices that I wouldn't have been able to make without them, and it's been remarkable.
When banks compete for your home equity loan, a great offer is just a phone call away. So at LendingTree.com, you can get up to 4 real offers in minutes, even if you have no equity in your home. Call now at 1-800-555-TREE. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. When it comes to helping you refinance, some banks really go the distance. At LendingTree.com, get up to 4 competing offers in minutes and save up to $200 a month when you refinance. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Call now at 1-800-555-TREE.
Look who's in the house. Look who's in the house. Computers, service, come together now. Geek Squad now at Best Buy.
You must be so excited.
Yeah. Actually, I've been wanting to talk to you about my life insurance.
I figured you'd want to make sure it's up to date. One thing I think you should do.
There are times in life when you could really use expert financial advice. For more than 145 years, Northwestern Mutual and its products have quietly earned a most enviable reputation.
Might be your best option.
Yeah, that's a great
Isn't it
point.
time you had a quiet conversation of your own? Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. The Quiet Company.
When you hit the road, you expect your car to perform well. But if your engine isn't clean, it may not perform at its best. Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline can help. It actively cleans your engine for better performance. So no matter where you're going, with Shell V-Power, you'll be able to enjoy the performance. Shell V-Power actively cleans for better performance.
Oh, do you see the pool area?
No.
Oh.
Can I help you?
Yeah, we've seen 1,000 homes, and this is the one we want.
It's not for sale.
Kids, why don't you run upstairs and pick out your bedrooms?
Thanks for the house.
Okay, so what's the price?
There is no price. It's
sold. We'll take it. But
Hey, we should have them over for dinner.
do you like fish?
Century 21 agents won't leave you to fend for yourself to find a house. They're committed to finding the right home for you. To find out more, visit century21.com.
Have you seen my new pillow windows? They're stunning. But look at this. The shades are in the windows? Yeah, so they don't get dirty or damaged. And they work like regular shades? No, even better, they're cordless. Look at that. One is so easy to change the shades too. Oh my gosh, look at that. Do it again.
The new designer series, Windows and Doors. Only from Pella.
Want to see the other one?
Eventually,
You look through them. The Pella-Day sale is going on now. Call today for a free in-home consultation.
One man is always on the hunt for a bull market, and Jim Cramer is your guy for one night. 120 lucky people tap into Jim's Wall Street expertise in person. Jim Cramer in a special edition of Mad Money, coming in July to CNBC.
Today's big headline story on Wall Street, eBay. The stock once again tumbling.
An abomination. The stock was annihilated.
On January 20th, 2005, eBay lost $13 billion of its stock market value. It was the worst trading day in its history. The worry on that day and in the days that have followed is about growth. Can a company whose revenues expanded faster than any other in its first 10 years of existence keep it up?
The company does need to maintain that really great environment for buyers and sellers. There are many people, I think, many more people who would buy on eBay today if it were just a little bit easier.
For the first time in its brief history, eBay has hit some major bumps in the road. The slowing growth of listings in the U.S., disappointment with car sales in Germany, the outrage over fee increases, fear of fraud, questions about why the company needed another $100 million to spend in China. But at its once-a-year meeting with Wall Street analysts, Meg Whitman sounded a confident note.
eBay's potential is stronger today than it has ever been.
1 month later, investors and eBay employees would wonder whether to believe her. The woman so closely associated with eBay's success had considered leaving to run another company.
It was the only company in 7 years that I've ever actually even returned the headhunter call for. And as you can imagine, I get lots. And I think the reason was that I have a fond spot in my heart for Disney. I worked there for 4 years. I see the enormous potential of that company. It's an American icon. And I was persuaded by a couple members of the board to come down and at least hear out what they were thinking of. And then in the end, ultimately decided that it was the right thing for me to stay right here at eBay.
So those who would say, gee, she may not really think that much for the future of eBay, the company she's been leading, if she's willing to go over to Disney. What do you say to those people who just scratch their head?
I decided to stay.
Stay though she may, Whitman's challenge will be to keep eBay growing. One way to do that? Acquisitions. Comparison shopping site Shopping.com, an online automobile classified ad company in Germany, a 25% stake in Craigslist, auctions websites in India and Korea, the purchase of Rent.com. All of these deals intended to bring more services to the website along with more buyers and give sellers more ways to access those buyers. eBay is also relying on PayPal. The online payments processor it bought in 2002 is designed to offer a more secure and convenient form of payment. Its key feature, letting individuals accept credit card payments. In markets where PayPal has a significant presence, eBay's business goes up. This year, PayPal will account for more than a quarter of eBay's revenue. And like eBay, PayPal has had its share of problems, including service interruptions and complaints about its buyer protection. Dave Martin used PayPal to buy that necklace that he says arrived broken.
PayPal came back to me saying that because the chain was no longer available to be examined, that they couldn't do anything. So I explained to PayPal, I says, naturally I don't have the chain because I had to return it, according to this guy's refund policy.
His refund claim was rejected.
They have this pretense of buyer protection for eBay and for PayPal, but it's not as good as the buyer protection you get from your credit card. They could do a lot better.
As eBay moves into its second decade, Meg Whitman acknowledges there are areas for improvement.
The thing to remember about eBay is it is only 10 years old, and yet we carry a market cap and probably a profile in the world economy that is far bigger than most 10-year-olds. And so I often say it's hard to make a 10-year-old act like a 20-year-old. And that's a challenge. I think we've come a long way. I think we have a long way to go to sort of fulfill the full potential of what this company can be.
And what is that? eBay is already the world's largest online marketplace. It has already changed the lives of many of the people who sell on it. It has already achieved a level of financial success rarely seen in American business. Its founder has still grander visions.
This has a huge social impact to individuals, and it's our responsibility to bring that to more and more people around the world.
connecting an individual, no matter where they are, no matter what language they speak, into an efficient marketplace where they have a market for the goods that they create. I think that'll be hugely powerful.
The idea of a skilled artisan in a developing nation selling his work into the global marketplace also remains largely that, an idea. But until Omidyar created it in his living room back in 1995, so was eBay. After one day, we've got one bid. One guy's bid $4. That's our starting price for our item. We're getting a little worried, so we spent another 35 cents to put a picture right up front. 5 days to go, still one bid. We have had some questions. Interest is picking up. We have 3 bids, 13 watchers, and over the weekend, the price went up to $20.50. 8 bidders, $46. This is eBay excitement. 30 minutes to go. We're at $85 and we have 13 bidders. This is where I really want to see some money coming up. Come on, baby. Come on. 1 minute. We're still at 85. We're gone. Our auction is over. Now let's go to my eBay. 8504. From my basement onto eBay and now going to BAB 101. Assuming they pay. $85.04 is what I got, and I'll take it. $4 of it's going to eBay, but the rest should be enough to take me and my wife to dinner.
Hello. Try a delicious apple. Contains all the knowledge of the universe.
Look, I know you're Satan. If I eat this apple, we're gonna have to start wearing clothes and worrying about things like tax brackets and counting carbs. So, no thanks.
Hindsight is easy. It's thinking ahead that's hard. But that's how Liberty Mutual serves our customers and why we're one of the world's leading insurance companies.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call this person a winner, but never mind. Moving on to the more spiritual side of Japan. Across the land, you will find all sorts of temples and shrines. And where there are temples, there will be TV reporters trying to make a story, usually out of nothing. Asking lots of questions like, who's that guy? What's with the cat? Why does that statue have a hat and a lap full of rocks? What's the point of all this? And is that the same cat? Unfortunately, we don't understand any of this either. All we know is that the story ends with a lot of people licking various parts of the statues around the place. Again, we don't know why or how many people die from this unsanitary practice. I'm not sure I could hang with any deity that wants to be licked in public. Remember, at the end of the show, we'll be selecting the clip of the day. Could be one of these stories you've just seen, or it could be one of the stories coming up. Will it be the card-carrying veggie hater? Or the killer ballerina? Or the knife-wielding hairdresser? Stay tuned.
You're watching TV Guide Channel. You're watching TV Guide Channel.
Tulsa. After all, you are the senior officer.
That's right, I am. So get on with it. Both of you. You all right?
Yes, sorry, sir.
It's all right, happens to all of us.